Well, hello there.
Hey, hey.
So already, just starting this off, before we introduce ourselves, it looks like we're already having technical problems, which is great.
Already awesome. We
Already.
love it. we love kicking it off with technical problems. I do love it.
Yes. Um, First thing first, this is the first episode we're doing. You know what, Christian? How about we just introduce ourselves, and we'll get
That's
this
right.
up on while this is working. While we start, I'll continue working on the background and try to get this in other places. How about that? We
Yeah,
start there.
yeah. Let's do that. So let me start here. Christian Hernandez here. I am a developer experience lead at CodeFresh, a general GitOps enthusiast, I guess it would say. For those that don't know me, my background was really heavily in administration, and then I moved into application release management, and I was at Red Hat for like about 8 years, right, doing GitOps things, and that inevitably led me to CodeFresh, doing the Argo, all the fun Argo things at CodeFresh. So, here excited to be starting this streaming journey about all things GitOps.
Awesome. And hello, my name is Jay Asgar. I'm a developer advocate for IBM Cloud, and I'm here to help Christian along. We've spent some time together online. I don't think we've
Yeah.
actually ever shook hands before, though, have we?
I don't think so.
Um,
No, no. I think that's
yeah.
like par for the course nowadays, right? It's like, yeah, I know this person virtually. Um,
Yes.
but no, I don't think we've officially shaken hands, even though we've been at the same conferences a lot.
Many a time, many a time.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm actually quite excited about this because we're going to be spending some time in the GitOps ecosystem from every other week or so. Just check the random different systems we have to announce this. And as you can tell behind Christian over there, he's a big fan of Argo over there.
I
Right
always
there,
I always
perfect.
mess. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
um, and No joke. I'm here because I do genuinely believe uh, the GitOps movement is the next step for our cloud native ecosystem. Um, the more I learned about it, the more I started understanding the natural progression that I saw different companies use. GitOps is the way to do it. There's just no ands, ifs, or buts about it. As much as people wanted to say, oh, you need a service mesh, oh, you need blah, blah, blah. Nope. You just need what you need is a way to make sure your software is out there that you expect it to be, and auditable.
Auditable. I've always had
Yes,
trouble with that, and cinnamon. I can only say it once the first time,
nice.
and then after that,
Um,
it's after
it's a
that, like I stop. Right? It's
Yep.
it's
So this first episode, which unfortunately we're only streaming through a couple of the different systems, which is unfortunate. But Christian, I'll definitely get this to you so we can
yep.
get it up on after the fact. I don't know why it's not working, but let's drop that and just keep moving.
Yeah.
Um, so the first episode we're gonna play around on, and so Christian, you wanted to talk about like the pillars of like why. For, let's
Yeah.
just start there. Why are we in this world that we live in now, and why do we need something like GitOps?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's like I think it's a perfect way to kick off a show, is just like, all right, like let's just talk about why we want to do a show about GitOps, right? And like what's GitOps. I think um I still get asked this a lot. I get asked, hey, like what is GitOps? Is it just like a marketing term, or is it a real thing? And the answer is to that is yes to both those questions, right? They're not mutually exclusive. Um, I think GitOps is a earworm phrase. As you said, JJ, it's like it's things that are natural progression of like how we deliver software, especially now in the cloud native space, right? And so, but still, like we don't want to, um, we want to put in like a definition to it. So very much like we don't want it to turn into like what cloud was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like cloud now, like everyone came up with their own definition, and now like no one really knows what cloud is. um
Sure. So
you're
true.
right. Like now it's like now it's like, oh, I have a cloud here at home. It's like, okay. um so so originally the phrase, like I'm gonna do a little history lesson. Originally the phrase was coined by Alexi Richardson, right? So, sorry, Alexis Richardson,
Mhm.
so who is the CEO of Weaveworks. And
Yep.
so which was, the start, you can Google it, but like the high level story was like they had a major outage. Like someone, you know I think we all had this story. I have a ton of these stories where you fat finger a config and like have to. You were just telling me a story, right, JJ, about
Yep.
someone fat fingered a config and brought down like, so someone at Weaveworks. Weaveworks was originally a hosting company. They did a managed service for Kubernetes and containers. Someone fat fingered a config and took down an entire region, and which is bad, right?
Yeah.
And but they brought it up like in a half hour, and then Alexis, he's like, the first thought that went to his head is, why are we up so fast? Which was really
Hmm.
a really funny. I think it's a good it's a good what do you call it, attitude to have during an outage. It's like, whoa, we came up fast. Why? Instead of being mad that they were down, he was happy. It's
Yep.
like, wow, we came back fast. Like, why? And he was talking to his SREs, right? And they're like explaining to him what they do. And he's like, oh, that's like GitOps, and that's like because everything was in Git, they just reapplied the
Hmm.
configuration. So that's kind of like he coined that phrase, or that phrase was coined in Weaveworks. And so um so as that like phrase kept like, you know um it's like I said, it's like an earworm. That phrase just like kept going,
Hmm.
um getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They're like, you know folks at Weaveworks, folks at CodeFresh, at Amazon, at Red Hat. I'm gonna miss a few, so forgive me. They're like, well, let's actually define what GitOps is, right? Let's not like turn this into like a marketing thing where you can just say you're doing GitOps. Like, well, are you or aren't you? So, um, which led to the Open GitOps initiative. So the Open GitOps initiative was basically a vendor neutral way to define what GitOps is,
Hmm.
and um, uh, 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 what GitOps is first and foremost. Like, just this, let's just define it, and then eventually, what it ends up happening is uh, to do like sort of like best practices, some white papers, some green papers, that sort of thing, reference architectures. So that's
Hmm.
kind of like what the Open GitOps is supposed to be. And it's supposed to be like vendor neutral, right? So that's why like all these different companies and end users are involved, which you can see opengitops.dev, right? And so that's kind of like our website. Um, I am a maintainer at Open GitOps, so it's that caveat. I'll throw that caveat out, but it's but it is meant to be vendor neutral, right? GitOps, Open GitOps.dev, and so um, we decided to say, hey, let's go version one to GitOps principles. That was like the first. Let's do the GitOps principles, and to define what GitOps is, right? Because there's like a lot of loose definitions out there, and it's there's four principles, right? So like we kind of wanted to keep it short, keep it almost at axioms, right? We kind of wanted to make them
Hmm.
like axioms, or like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? So the GitOps principles, the first principle is that it's just declarative, right? We talk about this is that infrastructure as code
Hmm.
aspect of GitOps, right? And some people think doing infrastructure as code, that's GitOps. They're like, no, that's like one part of it, but that's essentially the actual definition is a system managed by GitOps must have its desired state expressed declaratively, right? So instead of imperatively. So not just a bunch of deployment scripts, something that is declarative, right? So
Hmm.
this is the infrastructure as code, and like a lot of people I think are used to this. We were talking about how JJ, you said you used to work over at Chef or Ops Code. Did they call it Ops Code, or did they just switch it to
Yeah. Ops
Chef?
code.
Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Ops code. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, they I was a big Chef user, so I was like, "Oh, JJ, you worked at Chef. That's awesome. Ops code. Love the software." But anyone who's used Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Terraform, like, oh yeah, that's kind of where that fits there, right? The declarative aspect of it.
Mhm.
Um, the second part is that it's version and immutable, right? And this is like the Git aspect of GitOps, right? But
Mhm.
it's not necessarily Git, right? So it's like the desired state is stored in a way that enforces immutability, versioning, and retains a complete version history, right? And so
Mhm.
that's the Git part, right? Like Git, that whether using GitHub or Bitbucket or whatever, it fits that definition. But also S3 fits that definition, or OCI kind of also fits that definition, right? It's
Mhm.
there's a version, it's immutable, and there's a history, right? There's like you roll back by rolling forward, sort of thing,
Mhm.
like within Git, because it's just you're always moving forward, and there's always a version of that complete history. So version, immutable, and declarative, right? Those are the first two. So we're halfway there. Really awesome.
Mhm.
Um, and it's pulled automatically, right? And so um, this is I I both hate and love this this principle, right?
Mhm.
Just because, like, when you say pulled automatically, people's mind automatically goes between push and pull design, and it has nothing to do with that. But like naturally, people think like, oh, push and pull, like you're pushing a config, or the a system's pulling those configs locally. Um, you know, uh, because like I think Puppet had a push, I think had a
Mhm.
pull design, right?
Cool.
Chef had kind of like a
No.
little both, right? Had like a push and pull, because I know you could do like knife,
So
whatever, blah blah blah. Now I'm showing my
yeah,
age
yeah, yeah.
with the command.
Chef was a pull by design where
Mhm.
it would pull from a centralized server. Though
Yeah, yeah,
Puppet had a Puppet master that would pull from like a database of information.
yeah,
But you
yeah,
could it was it was eventually consistent compared to Chef, which was
yeah,
consistent, which it was like a chef recipe. Like that's how you would teach it
yeah.
is you start at the beginning and you go to the end,
And
not eventual consistency, which Puppet was, which eventually figured out that it didn't need to make any changes. And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah,
Ansible came along and did the real push thing where
yeah.
you wrote it in YAML to push the thing out. That's right.
To push the thing up. Yeah, yeah. Um, all that to say is that principle 3 has nothing to do with any of those, which is why I don't like the principle pulled automatically, because people's minds automatically, like um like, not saying that it's bad. It's just like the people's minds automatically go to that, because that's just kind of what
Mhm.
um you know we've just been talking about for years, right? Like push pull method. But the
Exactly.
pulled is how to pull um the configurations, right? So
Mhm.
the software agents automatically pull the desired state declarations from the source, right? And so this is it's just trying to differentiate it from like webhooks, or like like GitHub Actions, right? Like
Mhm.
you do a build, and at the end there's a webhook that does a deploy. Um, that's that's not how that's not GitOps, right? I mean, it's not that it's wrong. It's just not GitOps, right? It's um, very
Mhm.
linear. So actually the software agents are
Mhm.
just looking at the desired state, and that's all it's doing. And if it needs to, basically, that's a glorified way of doing git log, right? Like, have you ever done like git log whatever, and you see the hash,
Yep.
and if there's
Mhm.
an update, then it does a get pull. That's essentially what it is, right? And it's like, oh, okay, the hash changed, so that means there's an update. Let me do a get pull. That's like
Yep.
the dummies explanation, or the easier to understand. My vision of what that third one is essentially, it's like, is there a change? No, don't do anything. Is there a change? Oh yeah, there is. I need to pull those changes so I can act on those, right? And that brings to like number 4, right? Like, all right, now that you pulled those changes down, what do I do, right? So continuously reconciled, and that's like also what GitOps is, right? Is like
Mhm.
software agents continuously observe the actual state and attempt to apply the desired state. And so and that it does that continuously, right? There's a reconciliation loop that happens. There's
Mhm.
a, on in Argo, I think it's 3 minutes. Um and it's a global setting where I think, or at Flux, you can set it to whatever you want, independent of other things. So, um, but anyways, there's like a loop that happens that it keeps checking, and um, so that's like what GitOps is, and I think I like Dan Garfield, who's here at CodeFresh, um, explained like, well, there's like also, it's not just like rerunning the same script over and over again, right? Like, because if you think about it, like if you put like Terraform in a while true loop, right? Like while true, do Terraform apply, right? That's not really GitOps either, because that's like I don't know if you ever seen the old school, I'm talking really old school, chopping machine for like a tree, right? So basically it's a mechanical axe that just chops, right? So
Okay.
you can imagine it just goes do 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 do, right. It's hitting the tree with the axe. After the tree falls, um, the axe will still
Keep
go until you
keeps
stop it,
going.
right? Right. It'll
Yeah.
just, that's a wild true loop, right? And that's not GitOps, because it's like it'll chop whether a tree's there or not, whether it fell or not.
Uh,
Um,
okay.
right. Like that's like kind of like the wild true Terraform apply. It'll just keep applying, right? Applying, or um, whereas I think um explaining GitOps as a thermostat, I think, is like the perfect um, analogy, right? Like a thermostat, right? So you think about, because it's based on the closed loop control theory. So like if you have,
Keep going.
so like, yeah. So think about something that's event driven. So like I used to live in an apartment with a wall mount air conditioner, really crappy, right? Wall mount air conditioner. And then I'm like, you know what? It's hot. I'm gonna stand up and turn on the air. So I stand up and turn on the air. Then I sit back down, and then I go, you know what? I'm cold. Like it's got too cold now, right? Like I just turn on the air. So I stand
Mhm.
up and I turn it off, right? That's event driven, right? That's like event
Mhm.
driven. Something happened. It triggered me to get up and turn it on, turn it off, right? Whereas
Okay.
GetUps is a thermostat, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna go and set my desired temperature. I want to set it to 72,
Oh,
and then I sit
interesting.
down.
Okay.
So and then I sit
Yeah.
down, and then that's, so it just took that initial input of my desired state, and then the thermostat's job is to monitor the temperature and to turn itself
Mhm.
off or on depending on the temperature, right? So it get,
Nice.
if it reaches 72, cool, I'll turn it off. Oh, it went above 72, I need to turn back on, like, and it'll,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that's really like defining GitOps. That's what GitOps is, right? Is it's essentially um a very nuanced difference between like a CI/CD pipeline, right? That's event
Mhm.
driven, versus like a GitOps um, methodology of the pipeline, right? And
Mhm.
so that's a long, long intro to actually get to what you actually initially asked about the natural
Mhm.
progression, right? So, like, if you
Yeah.
think about it, like Kubernetes was built on the same principles of control loops and control theories, right? There's different
Mhm.
controllers for things, right? Out of the gate, you got like the you know you got the controller that's looking at pods. You got the controller looking at replica sets. You have the controller that is like, it has its own domain, right? There's multiple controllers that has its own domain,
Mhm.
but essentially it's like, you give it YAML, and it just tries to do whatever you tell it the YAML to do.
Mhm.
And so, like a deployment, right? Like you did deployment configuration, you give it a deployment, right? You put replicas equals 2, and then Kubernetes will just keep trying to keep that that state always there. So now you have a fleet of Kubernetes clusters, right? So you have
Yeah.
Kubernetes clusters, you have what I call a cluster sprawl, right? There's a Kubernetes
Mhm.
cluster, like all, like some big
Well,
organizations. we'll have like maybe one per environment, I would think, right?
I'd go even farther. Like, because people have seen Kubernetes clusters as, for lack of a better term, ephemeral, and they want to
Hmm.
like spin up their own one to do the thing they need to get eventually to the production and Kubernetes cluster, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the production Kubernetes cluster. Like, I have this conversation so often where like,
Yeah.
no, you iterate inside the cluster. That's what you change. Like, you should not.
Yes.
You should
Yeah.
only ever need to upgrade when you need to upgrade. Otherwise, you care about what's inside of it, not the actual
Yeah.
infrastructure. But anyway, it's.
Yeah.
I keep telling people just need really big clusters and use projects or namespaces to make
Yeah.
your life easier. But they're like, no, we have all this hardware in this data center.
Yeah.
We're going to use
Yeah.
Kubespray and get Kubernetes on everything. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're just causing problems, buddy.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of
Anyway,
problem, and like in the management of it, right? And so I think that's where a lot of this, the
yeah, exactly.
GitOps, comes into aspect of like, okay, like how do we manage all of this at scale? It's just a natural progression. Like it's like with Alexis Richardson, he's like he asked his SREs like, how do we get up so how do we recover so fast? It's like it's just a natural progression of his SREs, just trying to, it
Mm-hmm.
what they were already doing, right? It's just a refinement of things that
Yep.
SREs were already doing. As containers came up. I think containers almost more so than Kubernetes, because Kubernetes is just orchestrating containers. Like container, like having that container and like being able to have like those ephemeral um deployments. Um
Mm-hmm.
what am I trying to say? Those ephemeral um way of deploying an application, right? Like they needed a way to kind of like control where everything is. Um, and so like tools like Flux developed inside of Weaveworks,
I'll say.
tools like Argo developed inside of
Mhm.
Intuit, just because like it's just stuff they needed to do anyway.
Mhm. I'll say that one of the things and finally understand the power of GitOps was actually, I think, one of your videos
Yeah.
where you
Yeah. Yeah.
showed how to deploy a new drop down to OpenShift to like
Oh
some
yeah. Yeah.
random URL, and you were like, hey, now imagine you have 40 clusters
Yeah. Yeah.
and you need to change this URL to another wiki. Are you going to touch beans, or are you going to just change this
Different.
one
Yeah.
location and get it your whole fleet? And I'm like, holy crap, that makes so
Oh.
much more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Had I
That is
not
awesome. Yeah.
used this,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
makes, and then yeah, you take it one step farther. Why don't I do this through all my applications? But
Yeah.
the
For
one thing
everything.
that at least
Yeah.
me, the biggest stumbling block I had in this whole space, it's something we should probably figure out a way to talk about, is for the longest time, people had physical physical division of deployment instruction and code, because
Hmm.
you'd have an ops team that would deploy
Yes.
your
Uh-huh.
code and a dev team that would actually write, even had a physical wall because they'd be two different teams. Then we had this whole DevOps movement, bring
Yes.
everyone together, trying to do all that stuff. Then we got the cloud native space, right? Where we're starting to do even more and more of that. The problem is, or at least my stumbling block inside of the GitOps movement, is we have now recreated
Mhm.
that line where the
Yeah.
deployment mechanism needs to be its own repository, and you cannot okay, you can add it to the repo, fine, but you need to, in
Yeah.
your mind, realize it's two different repositories with two different histories, where the deployment process is its own
Yes.
repository, where it's a repository of everything that needs to get deployed, not just one application. I mean, I guess it could be one, but the point, dealer's
Yeah.
choice. But the idea is you need to go
Yeah.
back to that
Yeah.
mentality where your deployment process is now different and is no longer attached to your code, which is for a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
us now. At least my gray beard is showing my age here. Um, we've spent so long trying not to do this. GitOps just brings it back, but brings it back in a way that is verifiable, continually auditable,
Yeah.
and also automatic, where you let the bots do the work for you.
yes, let the bots do the work for you. I think is a lot of thing, and also putting it like in a central location, central source of truth. Does it you can get more eyes on it than it
Exactly.
would be like if you had, like you said, like we're like trying to do DevOps everything together. It's like now we're kind of like we're decoupling like, okay, the deployment path and building the
Yep.
application path, right? Because they're different life cycles. But it's still like in a repo where like, let's say like me, I put my developer hat on, like I can go and see, well, how is this getting deployed? Just like, either
Hmm.
out of curiosity or like if I want to know because of like, um I'm coding something, right? And like I want to do the um the code it in such a way that it takes advantage of the environment and it isn't like against the
Hmm.
grain of the environment. Um I think I'll this might be a tangent, but I think a lot of the times coders do just want to code, but at the same
Hmm.
time it's like, are you coding effectively to the environment you're deploying, right? It might be
Mm.
best practice to do something, but like the hardware that that is getting deployed on, maybe you need to do something else, right? So
Hmm.
that's like another way to like when you have it in Git, right? Now it's like you see it's like a map, right? Like you see, okay, this is how it's getting deployed. Um, so you get more eyes on it, right? Like you talked about that word that's hard to say when you do audit, right? Auditability. I'll try it. Of
There
it
you
as
go.
well, right? Like you can see where, who, what, where, why something was changed.
Hmm.
Um, you can employ Git workflows, right? Like you can, use protected branches. You have, multiple reviewers. You can have tests,
Hmm.
happen against certain repos for the infrastructure, right? For the actual deployment of it. Um, Not just the code, right? You can actually like just test the deployment
Hmm.
in an environment now automatically, right? Like instead of doing that waterfall thing, like you just had like all that automatically. I think Kubernetes makes it easier, and Kubernetes, and then GitOps makes even the Kubernetes part even easier, right? Because now you're doing it to like
Yes.
a fleet, right? Instead of just like
Absolutely.
one Kubernetes cluster.
Yep.
So I think that's
So, no, that's great. I feel like I think we've hit this point home where
yeah, for
it's
sure.
I
Yeah.
mean all back to the natural progression, right? Like
Yeah.
you need the world is working this way, and this is a system that allows you to leverage what is coming down the line.
Yeah.
And the so with all that foundational conversation, Christian, what are we planning on doing on
Yeah.
this
Yeah. We were
well,
this
not this
stream. Yeah.
stream, all these
But just
streams, I should say.
all these streams, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like uh looking to explore um how to take full advantages of tool sets that are out there, I think is um you know one aspect of it. I think hacking on some things and making things work, um to try to peel back a little bit, see how the sausage is made on the back end, right? um
Yep.
I think demos are great, right? Demos are cool. I'm a big demo guy, but I think if like we crack the shell a little bit and peel back and see how
Hmm.
things are working, right? So I think
Sure.
hopefully, we have um we have some fun breaking some things, and see how to effectively use it, right? I come from the aspect of I have an ops background, right? So like
Hmm.
I'm a big ops background, big release um, management background, and so I would like to get like some developers to kind of just see how like the mind of a ops guy works. I think,
Hmm.
right? I think JJ, you also have like some ops background, right? Or although we're talking about Python before the stream a little bit, but
I literally have a
I think
Nagios screen up
oh,
on another screen.
nice,
Yeah,
awesome,
I've
yeah.
yeah, I'm resetting up Nagios at my house. That's how
Oh
ops
my
I
god,
am.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm so ops. I still use Nagios, right? So for those who don't know what
Exactly.
Nagios is, like it's back before Prometheus was cool. We had other right, other alerting, other monitoring uh stuff going on. Man, Nagios was great. Um that was always for me a
Still
pain to
around.
set up. Yeah, it's still around. It was always
Yeah.
a pain for me to set
Yep.
up. Always a pain. Like it
Yep.
didn't. I set it up for like I used to have the first job I ever had. I managed well, the first admin job I had was Solaris servers, right?
Nice.
So yeah, so Sun Solaris, Solaris 9 and 10. Um,
Nice.
the trying to set up Nagios on a Solaris server is hard. Like
Yes.
that was hard. That
Absolutely.
was really
Yes,
hard.
it is.
But that's you get geek cred though if you do it. If you set up Nagios on because it's like I think it's written in Python or
No, it's
Perl.
written in PHP. PHP.
PHP. Okay. One of the P's, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Python, Perl, PHP, one of those.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's PHP, yeah. And so like to get like the module versions
Hmm.
like right without
Oh yeah.
and you're on a shared server, so like you don't want to upgrade
Yep.
like the version of a module because then you'll like break someone else's stuff and
Exactly.
um
Exactly. You can't
oh
just
man.
reboot it to get it working again. It's
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
exactly.
when your career starts, the first thing you're asked to do is make ampersand ampersand make install,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
don't even know what a dot configure is, and you're just like,
What?
what the
Yeah,
hell is
yeah.
going on? But you felt like a
Yeah,
hacker though.
exactly.
It was always nice. But anyway, but yeah, no, that's all great, right, Christian? Like the whole idea is that we want to show the world that GitOps is the next is this path. And
Yeah. Yeah.
as two old school operators or sysadmins or DevOps or whatever you want to call us,
Whatever you want to call this now.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, we're going to come from the angle of this is what we'd be doing in if we were
Yes.
working together in a company, and this is what we're gonna if we were responsible to run your application, running something like Argo or Flux or whatever to make this happen. This is what we would, at least if Christian and I were on the same team, sitting
Like
in a
how would we
conference
yeah.
room, trying how would we leverage this. So hopefully you can see where we're coming from. So the so we only target these for about an hour,
Mhm.
and then obviously they're all going to be up on YouTube and things like that. So if you miss it or whatever, you can always rewatch it. But one of the things that I have out of whenever I stream personally is I like a goal of something to do, right? And sometimes the goal could be really really easy, and you find yourself doing it in 10 minutes. Other
Yeah.
times it can take multiple streams because the damn thing just won't come together. So
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
when Christian and I come together to work on this, I'm prefacing this all by saying we never know how long these projects are going to take, and we're going to do our damnedest to complete each one of them because I think it's a learning experience for us too, because we get to spend the time as two engineers trying to figure this stuff out. So with that, what do we want to finish this next 30 odd minutes on? What are we going to work on?
Yeah, yeah. So I thought we talked about a couple things. One of them is the how to uh hold on. I got an error right as I was talking. And like I'm
That's
like,
the way
oh,
it happens.
squirrel. I'm like, all right, I got like a weird error. I'm like, what? Squirrel. Oh, okay, let me X out of that. That has nothing to do with this.
Nice.
Yeah, we talked about we talked about uh we talked about a couple things, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
so first I had the idea of like doing 4 ways to install Argo CD, right? Um and in order to, I think some people have always asked me like how do I like play with Argo CD?
Yeah.
And like I always recommend the same thing, but then I've one yet to write a blog about it or do a
Mm-hmm.
video about it. And I'm like, I thought that would be a good idea to finally get that like somewhere that I can point people to. So that was like one, right? Like there's like 4 different ways to do it. And then we discussed about doing a small app, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for the stream, right? So for those
Mm-hmm.
that you don't know, we're using a Restream, and we're trying to like, you know,
It
get the
failed us.
chats all. Yeah.
Failed us horribly.
But by the way, it failed. But eventually we're gonna need a way to track the chats for Twitch, that in a way that we don't have to like open up a whole new window and do a resource hog. So if we're targeting 30 minutes, I think 30 minutes try to see the different ways to
Sure.
install and play with Argo, we can do in 30 minutes. Um, you know, it requires no prep other than some of the prerequisites. So I think
So first questions I have with that.
mhm.
You can have Argo sit on a K3s cluster or whatever, and it
Yep.
can control other instances of things. So if you
Yep.
wanted to just play with Argo, in theory, you could just get a machine, throw K3s, install Argo on there, and then
Yep.
have it control something else for you. Is that a typical path that people go down?
Yeah, so there's like that's like the hub and spoke
Okay.
model,
Mhm.
right? You can have like you can install Argo on a you know on a like you said K3s cluster, or like a Kubernetes cluster somewhere, right? And that's like
Mhm.
your Argo server, and you use that as your hub and spoke central way of like deploying things to different Kubernetes clusters.
Mhm.
Um, that's one way to use it. Another way is like a fleet, right, where you install Argo on a server and you use it to control other Argo CD instances.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
right. So you use Argo to manage Argo, and and it just becomes um, those child Argos. I don't know what you would
Mhm.
call them. Or managed Argos are um, the Argonauts, the fleet of Argonauts are
Mhm.
are um, um, are almost become like agents, right?
Yeah.
On sitting on that local cluster. Um, so yeah, so I think um, for for like testing purposes, yeah, you can just start Argo on whatever Kubernetes cluster, right? I have
Mhm.
a a way I test things. I always like to test things from the ground up, right? So I like to
Sure.
start from zero and then install everything and then test my thing. So because that's how someone's going to use it. So
Yeah.
I always do it this specific way here. So let me.
Cool.
Oh, is this
Let's go
still
on an
running?
adventure, my friend.
Let's go on an adventure. We're going on an adventure. This is my. Oh yeah. Um. Oh, actually, I'm glad I have this up. Okay. Sorry. Let me share my screen. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, wait, let me share my screen so so you know what I'm talking about. There's gonna be some inception here. Let me know when you pull that guy in.
Let me bring it. Here we go. Hang on.
Yeah.
There we go.
So um, oops. So let me. So first off, I use kind, right? Um, so what's kind, right? So like I think that's like the easiest way for anyone coming from zero and wanting
Mhm.
to like just play around with Argo. Kind is probably like the easiest thing. And so for those who don't know, kind is basically you're running Kubernetes inside of a Docker container, right?
Mhm.
So so the prerequisites is one, Docker. You can use Podman as well. There's support for Podman.
Mhm.
But one, you need Docker, and then two, the kind binary, and that's it. Um, so some folks like to use what do you call it? Minikube, right?
Yep.
I think Minikube's great as well. There's less to do, but I think without the overhead of a VM, right? Because
Mhm.
Minikube, you're spinning up a VM and installing a single node Kubernetes cluster on there, right? So
Mhm.
if you want more info on kind, if you go to kind.sigs.kates.io, that's really hard to
Mhm.
say. Um,
It's pretty Googleable.
yeah,
Googleable.
yeah. So like I always do like if you wanna do kind, I always do sig kind, and it's like the first one, right?
Mhm.
So and what kind is basically a binary that interacts with a Kubernetes cluster. So I do a specific configuration. Let me actually copy it here. Actually, not here. Let me go up one. Create a directory. Why not? I have so many things here. Go to Twitch. I have a Twitch directory. Let's see what's in here. Fun stuff. Okay. Find Argo. Why not?
Sure.
And then sure, why not? Right. Up there. I think it is. Kind and then manifest.
Kind config.
Yeah, there's oops. I have this thing called the single master. So kind does have a config. Like you can just run like let's just run it. Docker's running, right? And you got the kind install. You can just do kind create cluster.
Yep.
And this will it'll pull the image, right? So essentially, it's just using a container for the Kubernetes nodes, and it's using the Docker network as the base network, and that's it. And it actually emulates you can actually emulate like production clusters actually pretty easily. So if I do kget pods, right, kget nodes, right, it just gets you you can just do that and it'll create a cluster for you. So if I do that's running now, and now it's ready. Yay. And I have a Kubernetes cluster, right? Like literally in seconds you get it. And kudos out to Ben who wrote this. He works at Google. He literally wrote this like just to do conformance testing for Kubernetes Kubernetes code base, right? And like it just took off, and like a lot of people just use it for local testing, like me. And you can do kind.
I've seen it put into CI pipelines too.
Yes, yeah, CI pipelines. So what's really cool? So like here, I always do a single node. Let me disable that for now, right? And I do custom networking because I don't know about you, JJ. I have a specific network here at home that I use for I have a home lab, and just like the default networks that people use just doesn't fly in my network. So you don't necessarily have to do these things, but I do port mappings, right? So what I say is that on the node, laptop, bind whatever container ports 80 to my host or my laptop's host 80, right? And same for 443. So basically, it's just opening up those ports to my local machine. So the reason for that is because like if you want to install an ingress controller, this is the only way to like be able to see things, right, in an ingress controller. And you can do things like this as well. Let me go. What was it again? You actually saw config.
There's one up. It was up. Oh.
Yeah, so there's like configs like this, right? And then configs like this, you basically say, I want 3 control plane nodes and 3 workers. In one of my workers, I'm exporting those, right? And so you can do kind create cluster, fetch config. That this takes a little longer. You might hear my fan spin up here because it's literally a 6-node cluster running on my laptop. And so I kind of want to show this where it's like you can emulate a multi cluster I guess setup, right? So like if you have multiple clusters and multiple nodes and you want to test things out like that, which is cool. Another thing why I like kind is that you can have multiple clusters running, right? So you can have 2 clusters running, and you can install Argo on one and have it manage the other just locally, just to play around with it. I see here it's doing
That's
on the back
clever.
end, yeah, which like you can do locally, right? So if you have a powerful enough laptop to run many clusters, you can, and you can use Argo to manage it locally. You kind of have like this mini ephemeral lab thing going on your laptop. On the back end, it uses kubeadm, right? So it's like it uses the same tools as you would to install a Kubernetes cluster anyway, right? Like if you're using like cluster API, it's using kubeadm on the back end anyway. So so same thing with kind. If I do Docker PS, you see that it looks like it should be up now.
Thinking about it.
Thinking about it, it might barf, but if it does, it doesn't matter. We'll go on, but yeah. So Docker PS, basically, it's running all these nodes in containers, right? And it has like an HA proxy node internally, so that way you can interact with it. If you have multiple nodes,
Nice.
so that's a. Let's see. So control plane nodes are up, and we're now joining worker nodes. So if I do, it's done. Okay, get nodes, right? So now I have three control plane nodes and 3 workers, right? And it's all starting to come up and running now. So then, like just to show, you can have a multi node configuration going on here. So I kind delete cluster. So Docker. Oops. Docker no more, right? So my go-to is always a single master, only because I don't really test a lot of stuff. Yeah, anything else really. Like I just need an Argo system up and running. I just do that. And so so do kind create cluster again, config single master, and that'll be up and running, right? And so while that's trying to get up and running, the first way to install an Argo CD cluster is to use my Google ability isn't there. We go. Is to go to the documentation page and just go to and just use the YAML they give you, right? And so like this thing getting started, and essentially step 1, let's create namespace Argo CD. Cool, we're there. And then kube apply the YAML, and then wait for it to come up. And essentially, it's that easy, just to use the using the YAML, and then you can then use Argo to manage Argo. Here, Argo manage Argo. Can I do that? There to set up. There we go.
Oh wow, I was gonna say that would be too easy. Oh, it's right there.
That'd be too easy. Yeah, exactly. You know what? I was surprised. I was like, would that work? I don't know. But yeah, so they just is the Argo CD is just a CRD. It's a collection of YAMLs, and so it says you can just install Argo using Argo, by using customization files. So it's kind of like that one way of doing it. Once up and running, let's see here. CK get secret Argo CD. There we go. Initial admin secret. So if you do k get secret Argo CD, this guy -o-YAML. That's the password.
64. Yay.
Yeah, base64. Just try to let's see how good my typing skills is while you're here. JSON path. Because we all know that when someone starts watching you type, it your skills go downhill. right, cool.
Yay.
And then base64-D. Awesome.
Nice. Well played, sir.
I was
Well
like,
played.
yeah, well played. I always do an echo, right? I do an echo just so I can copy that. So kget service argo cd. Let's do argo cd dash server. Actually, it's this one. Port forward, yeah. It's service, and I want to do what?
Port 80. Yeah,
It's
should be it defaults, right?
80. Yeah, so 80. Wait, so
Eight,
this so
colon 8080.
this, yeah, so is it my port first, my port, and then the container port?
It's port. No, I thought it was the other port first.
Is it
Port
the other way
80.
around?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
80 and bind to 8080. We'll see. Okay.
Or not.
The other way. Take my port 8080 and bind it to 80. Ah,
Ugh,
okay.
computers.
Yeah, it's always, and I always mess that up, by the way. Like I never do the right one first, and then like I haven't committed it to memory. Yeah, localhost, and then there we are, Argo, through that we base 64,
Yay!
and then there it is, right? With the YAML, right? So YAML is the easiest, more straightforward. I don't think it was any surprises by you, JJ, or anyone watching that
Nope.
this is like the easiest way to do it, right? Um, Another way of doing it is let's do a sleep here first. Sleep 2. Find cluster config simple master. Is with the Helm chart. The thing is with the Helm chart, there's a caveat with the Helm chart.
Argo.
Argo CD.
Argo.
No, Hargo.
Helm
Yeah.
chart.
Yeah. Helm chart. Yeah. So the Argo, this is community maintained. How do I? You know what's weird is trying to explain like the difference between like project maintained and community maintained, and they're like, isn't that the same thing? Like isn't
Oh,
the community
yeah.
maintaining the project? They're like, well, so
Not exactly.
not exactly, right? So the Argo Helm is basically just a bunch of folks that want to make sure that there's a Helm chart for all the Argo projects, but it isn't something that the Argo project is focused on. However, there are like Alex, he, maintainer, founder, right? He commits to this, right? So it's kind of like it's like one of those officially unofficial.
Yep.
But another way, it's a Helm chart, right? And so they do a Helm chart for all the projects. There's one here for Argo CD. But what I like about the Helm chart, and I think most people, you can configure it like on instantiation, right? Like you don't like here, like you can do like you can create an ingress, right? As soon as it gets deployed, instead of like doing it after the fact. So there's a Helm chart to do that. And so the Helm chart, again, should be easy. I get nodes, cool, okay, get pods, sweetness. I have this here as well. And so I do have notes of how I usually do it. Well, since this is like a hacking show, I don't usually I have my notes off to the side and kind of just copy paste, but like, since we're just hacking here, I don't mind. Argo CD. Is it? Yeah, Engine X. Yeah. So here, there we go. Right. So you do basically first you have to add the repo, right? Which I already did that repo add. So like if I do a Helm, I'm wearing a Helm shirt today. Yay.
Yay.
Helm repo list. I got where's the Argo? Yeah, so I already added that. Uh so here I don't have an ingress controller. Should I install ingress controller?
I mean,
Why not?
the Nagios ingress was just above it.
Yeah, so let's just do ingress controller. Just because it's easy while I'm talking. This will be set up here. So yeah, so which kind of just shows you like the power of using the Helm installer. I can just say, hey, like before we did with the YAML, like I had to do a port forward,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if I wanted an ingress, I had to like set that up myself.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Helm, it says, oh, hey, if we'll install that for you, sort of thing. So, and so let me copy this. All right, that's get pods. Yeah, that's up and running.
Thinking about it.
So yeah, so this is what I do. Create the namespace, Argo CD, enable ingress, right? I do my local host for NIPIO. Ingress class name is Nginx. HTTP is true. Oh, I think this might not work, but it's debugged. Yeah. Let me show you why it's not working, because it just I am looking for a node selector. Nginx equals, and I have to label the node. So let's do that. So if I do like, oops, okay, get nodes,
Mm-hmm.
show labels, right? There's no
Ingress controller.
yeah,
Ingress
so I have to
host.
do
Yeah.
k label node. Nope.
Yay.
There we go. Container creating. Sweet. All right. So we got that. Let's go back. Argo. Yeah. So I'm saying, create the ingress. Ingress class name is Nginx, right? We would, set all the things that you want. And this will that will go out and install Argo for you. People ask me, what do you recommend? I always do the YAML only because it's easier to GitOps, I guess. YAML versus, I guess I would say, like if like I want to customize something, or like I guess that's what I do, right? I'm not saying that using the Helm one is wrong. Um, I'm saying that I like working, since Argo CD likes working with raw YAML. I tend to stick with raw YAML.
Mm. Okay.
But I don't use the Helm chart though. I do use the Helm chart a lot when I need something quick. Um, yeah. So I have this here. So it's up and running. Well, what's cool about this is if I do get ingress of Argo CD, I already have an ingress already set up for it. So let's go.
Yay.
All right, let's get the password. Luckily, it's in my base. Go. I wasn't gonna top all of that. Yeah, cool. We're in. So then that's the second way, right? There's actually a cool third way, and I think JJ will like this way. There is an Argo CD operator. So
Nice.
so let's go Argo CD operator. So this is uh, an operator that you can use to install not just like on OpenShift, right, but like also just like on regular Kubernetes clusters.
Mhm.
And so this is like community maintained, right? But it was started by the Red Hat folks. They actually use this. So Red Hat has OpenShift GitOps, right, which is the supported version of Argo CD, but they just use this on the back end, right? It's this is all Red Hat folks here,
Mhm.
um, like Veer. I know him personally. He's Red Hat. He maintains this mostly. Um, Jan's also from Red Hat. So like a lot of these folks work at Red Hat, and it's just so like just because it's on the operator hub and just because it's like community maintained, it's actually a really great way of deploying Argo CD. So I should have a cluster up now again, a brand new
Mhm.
one. So this is
Mhm.
the hard one. Um, this one might break on me. I actually haven't done it this way. So first, you need to install the operator lifecycle manager on your Kubernetes cluster
Mhm.
in order to use the operator hub. That's kind of like this is a prerequisite, no matter which operator you're running. Like we all talk about not doing curl bash, but yet like everything I see on the internet,
It's all curl
right?
bash.
It's yeah, it's like curl bash it. It's like, do we have? I thought we all agreed we're not going to do that anymore. But
I mean,
whatever.
there's no difference with Git Docker or Docker pull, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah. So then that's step one. Install the operator. Um,
Then pull down some more YAML.
yeah, pull down some more YAML. I like how there's no carriage return there. Nice.
That
It's just
is
straight.
weird.
That
Yeah.
is. Can I curl that? Let's see if it let's
Yeah.
just on this tangent here. Oh, okay,
Oh,
it comes
okay.
in. Maybe the
Huh.
I've been having weird issues with Firefox. I don't know about you. Like
Mm.
I've been doing uh Lord help me, I've been doing a lot of JavaScript lately,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just I don't know. Coming from I did a lot of PHP, Bash, now a lot of Go, and I still can't get used to JavaScript. That's just I know why people use frameworks now, just to try to get far away from JavaScript as
Mm-hmm.
possible.
That's right.
Um,
That's about right. I
that's
mean,
about right.
JavaScript.
Yeah.
JavaScript you can get up and going really quickly, but as soon as you go into your day two, then you turn then tears come.
Then tears come, yes. And then I don't know what your opinion is on Copilot. Um, what like it or hate it, I can see both sides to it.
Mhm.
About get, but that aside, it was actually really helpful when I was doing JavaScript.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
because it tried it like it gave me suggestions. I go, oh, okay, yeah, like this is way better than what I was trying to do. This is way better than what
Nice.
I was planning on doing.
That
Um, so
works.
yeah, yeah, so let's
That
create
works.
the operator, right? This just installs OLM, right? The operator lifecycle
Hmm.
management. We should one day do an episode on like where does the operator framework fit within the GitOps paradigm, right? Because the
Yeah,
it's a lot
it's a
of
very
it's
good
a lot
guess.
of automation, right?
Mhm.
Like
I didn't
different, yeah.
actually run
So
it.
OLM is installed. All right, sweet. So this actually creates the Argo CD operator.
Hmm.
So let's do let's do the curl, right? Yeah. This here it says my Argo CD operator, operators, China Alpha. Okay. Like all these, it's like we don't have enough time to explain all these paradigms for the operator framework, but let's see here. Yeah. So right now it's installing. I go to OC right away. I mean,
Yep,
it'll
you're right
work.
here. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it.
I saw it. Like, might as well, now might as well lean into it, right? Um, so we got OLM here.
There you go.
This
You're
is
running.
installing the operator. Sweet. It completed. All right, so the operator is installed. Yeah. So then now, okay, so now we got OLM up and running, and install the operator, meaning that like it pull down all the resources it needs to manage this operator, because OLM is
And to be
nothing but an operator that manages operators, right? So
to be very clear for our audience, he has not actually installed Argo yet. He's
mm-mm.
basically, for lack of a better term, he pulled down the installer from the internet and he hasn't double clicked on the exe file yet. He's about to
Yes,
do
I
that when
love
he.
I love that analogy. Yes, that's exactly what just happened right now.
Yep.
I haven't double clicked it yet, right? Um, and so in order to install Argo CD, now this is the third way on a Kubernetes cluster, um, is uh,
Little
to
bit of YAML.
now more YAML, right? It's been YAML, it's YAML all the way down, right? Um, even this curl bash, it just basically built the YAML for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so all of this was just to install OLM. And again, what JJ said, I think this last the step 3 is basically I have pulled down the exe file from the internet. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't double clicked it yet, and that's the next step. Um, so it says here deploy a basic Argo cluster. So let's just do that. I think for the sake of
Sure.
time, right? We don't have a hard stop, but still, let's do Argo CD. Let's just do instance. It's not really the operator. Right, and so here, sorry, and let's do a namespace.
Argo CD.
JJ.
Oh,
Okay, create ns JJ. Awesome. Nothing new yet. Okay, apply. Oh, and as you see, it's just like a very, very basic.
mm-hmm.
The spec is nothing, right? So it's just give me the defaults. Here
Nice.
it gives you Argo CD in that environment. I don't think it installs ingress. No. So actually, so this is a cool thing about the operator. It's similar to Helm, whereas like if you go onto the documentation, operator documentation, you can customize your install. Where is it? Yeah, like for example, if you want to use Dex, right? It tells you, hey, just give the the Argo CD, just say, hey, use Dex and use OpenShift
Mm-hmm.
if you want to use the OpenShift OAuth, or if you want to use something else, right? You can do that. You can set up OAuth right at the right in the beginning. Let's see here. Like if you're running on OpenShift, you can get routes,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can set up routes during the initial installation, TLS setup. There's a page that has like everything on it, and I just, for the life of me, can't find it. Is it this one? No. Install guide. I don't want the install guide. I just want to get the. Is it this one? No. Reference. There we go. Yeah, this stuff here.
Oh,
This is all the configurations that are available to you
mm-hmm.
to set up. And like I actually have something you can compare it to. I got I think I got Geek Cred because if you Google GitOps -examples, my
Nice. First
repo is the
one.
first one. So
Nice. It works.
yeah, so it's like, all right, cool. So just to compare it to here, right? So let's clear this. The default Argo CD instance is like it's essentially nothing, right? And you just get the default. If you get pods, right, you get Argo application controller, repo controller, all the fun stuff. Eventually, it'll probably look like this, right? All the different configurations you can get. Again, it's similar to Helm, to where it'll, you can like templatize it, and I compare this to like the vars.yaml file in Helm. Same thing with like an operator. It's like, okay, I want, my RBAC, here are my, the resource limits for the pods, for the, my resource customizations, all that good stuff on Argo. So, and this is like, this is just a Kubernetes cluster, right? We're not even on OpenShift. We're just like on Kubernetes, what is it? 1.24. And so the last way to do it is I'm kind of cheating, is to use OpenShift GitOps, right? Which is basically just, if you're on OpenShift, there's no really need to use the operator. It's already built into the operator hub. And I actually, where is that cluster? Oh, I installed it. I just installed it on my vSphere. I don't care if you guys see my password, because it's behind the firewall, so you can't get to this anyway. And then here I have operator hub, installed operators. This is and in doing it on OpenShift, is you're doing all the steps in one, right? Like when JJ, when you said you installed the operator, OLM, you've downloaded the the exe, and then double clicking it, we had to do those steps. Here, way four, the 4 ways to install Argo CD is, if you're on OpenShift, use Red Hat OpenShift GitOps, and you do all of it in one click, right? Yep. Yeah, right. It installs like from soup to nuts. You get the OLM, you get the downloading of the exe, and the double clicking of the exe in one shot. So,
and in the correct places with sane defaults.
Yes, and with same defaults. Yes, exactly. So, so yeah, that's kind of the 4 ways, right? It went relatively quick, just because I think the only hiccup we had was the ingress thing. I think what do you call it? Hey, we got someone password cache, Kibo. Yes. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm gonna, steal this password. Go ahead. The well, like, I think, I mean, I guess in the age of pausing, I always used to say, like, on webinars, I say, like, you know what, if you can memorize this long key, like, you can have the cluster fine.
There you
go. You've done the work to memorize a long string of keys, but now people just pause it, right? So anyway, the 4 different ways. I think the ingress thing, I think as we progress further and further, this is just a kickoff show. We're gonna get, I think, a little deeper with like all of this stuff. This is kind of like superficial, kind of needed something to tinker with here, get some hands on keyboard, sort of thing. But yeah, no, I think this is awesome here. I think also a good, awesome first start. Yeah, at least get all the cobwebs out, right? Get the
well, we still have a few that we got to clean out. We don't actually have this going through the correct channels yet, but we'll figure that out by the next time we get together next time. And yeah, like thank you, man.
Yeah,
this was fun. I guess I'll go ahead and end the stream, and then
sweet.
We'll be back in a couple weeks. I believe the next one we have scheduled is the 29th.
I think not next week, but the week after, right?
Yeah, 29th. And watch our Twitters and all that jazz. You'll see
follow. If you pop up my name, JJ, my Twitter handle's there. If you want to follow us on the tweets, on the Twitterverse.
It's not showing. Or hang on.
Not yet, at least. Okay.
Hang on. I never actually use that thing.
Yeah, like the host names or whatever, you can pop them out, I think.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Where'd it go? There we go.
there it is. Yeah, so that's my Twitter, right there. You can follow us on Twitter, and
Perfect.
we have fans already, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that works. That works for me, man. That works for me.
yeah, that's what's free. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is coming from yours, I imagine the JJ one.
Yeah, this comes for the developer skills, which was something I'm not allowed
Sweet.
to say anymore due to
Okay,
licensing
certain
rules.
things.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but that's a conversation for a different time. All right,
Sweet. Awesome. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
say bye. Bye.
Bye bye.